I want you to think about this. You have an ethicist and a theologian who has decidedly said that his whole purpose is to rethink the outlawing of homosexual behavior within England. But he's not interested in considering the theological and moral aspects of homosexuality. He says that's distinct from the conversation about the political question. So instead, he gives a history of how these laws came to be. And through that history is implying that the laws themselves existing on the books are unfair. Now, Christians should immediately cry foul here at this point. Because when the Bible presents history, it does so within a certain theological framework. Theology, if we can just briefly define it, is the study of God. It's trying to understand and articulate his nature, his character, his actions, and his will and purpose. And what that is, that theology defines our morality and our ethics, which is how we live in light of such a God as this. And in case, you need that quick definition, the difference between morals and ethics. Morals are the principles of right and wrong. Ethics are dealing with our conduct in society or part of a larger social group, kind of the application of that, of those morals. So let me give you just a plain historical statement, okay? An objective historical statement. The city of Sodom was destroyed. Okay, there's no immediate moral or theological implications of that. I mean, maybe down the line, obviously, in terms of God's actions in the human world and all of that. But just as a statement itself, the city of Sodom was destroyed. That's just a blank, neutral statement of what happened. But if I say God destroyed Sodom for this reason, whatever this reason is, there's always moral and theological implications behind that statement. Because God did it, there's your theology. And God had a reason for doing it, there's your morality, because God is a moral being. He's not just arbitrarily acting out here in this world. Okay, if you believe that, then that's a whole separate theological discussion. And so here's the sleight of hand that you have this ethicist who says he's not making moral judgments on homosexual behavior, except that he believes that the laws regarding homosexual behavior need to be changed because they're too harsh on those who commit homosexual acts. So let's kind of reframe that thought. If I were to say to you, we need to rethink our laws regarding rape because they're too harsh on rapists. But, before you throw me off the stage, but I'm not making a moral judgment on rape. I'm just saying that the laws should be changed. How would that sit? How does that sound? Does that sound like I'm making any moral or theological claims? Yeah, of course it does. You'd be angry and confused and probably want to punch me in the face because you instinctively know that I'm making a moral judgment when I say that. And as a professing Christian, I'll also need to do the additional work to justify my position with the Bible, which therefore brings theology once again more clearly into focus there. Because ethics are always guided by the moral principles that undergird them. Where do moral principles come from? Well, they come from our view of God, man, sin, creation, fall, redemption. All of these things make up how we view the world, and our morality is rooted in those, even though a lot of times those things may not be clearly focused in our mind, those things are part of how we come to view certain things in this world.